will cooperate. Show anything. All right, so we're going to be kind of doing a deeper dive into the um, first-person shooter multiplayer template that got released a couple of months ago. This is, it has some systems in here that was used by Unity for their Survival Kids game that they made with Capcom that came out last year on the Switch 2. And Survival Kids is a 4-player co-op survival crafty type game. But they used netcode for entities for their network backend. Um, and everything else they used regular game objects for. And we're going to go into how they have that set up and how they merge the netcode for entities with game objects, because that is not a trivial thing to do. Ugh. Oh. Okay. All right. Oop. All right. So the template you can find in the hub, which I don't have open right now. With this, you'll need Unity 6.3 installed, and when you make a new project, you will scroll down. This has 6.4 installed. This just came out today. But if you scroll down a bit, you'll see the samples here. One of them will be, because I already have it installed here, multiplayer FPS. This is replacing the old competitive action template that was in older versions. So once you have this installed, I'll show you how it looks here. Everything is connected. Here we have a number of scenes that are going to load up right now. This has everything is using a UI toolkit for all of the UI. And yeah, we'll just hit play here. And it's using the multiplayer sessions, so we can either do a direct connection or use the relay system. And I think I'm just going to use the direct connect right now just to start as host. And here we go. So we have our player name that we can choose here. I think it automatically drops your Windows name in here. Laptop gets up. We can change this. We have two characters that we can choose from. We have a rifle character and a shotgun character. Okay. Choose between our two characters, our direct or relay here. Start as a dedicated server or as a host. We'll just start as the host here. Pick a port. So here in our seed view and in our hierarchy, you can tell that we have a number of seeds that are loaded up. Once the shaders load up, you'll be able to see the character. You see the role in the top left corner there. We are a server here, connected. We can here once shaders. We have our ammo counts in the bottom right. Bottom left is the little green bar is our health. Right click is so these other seeds are additive seeds that they load up on play. We have our weapons manager here in persistence. We have a connection, our various UI stuff here in the main scene. And our game manager here, which handles our audio. And we'll go into the Ghost Bridge manager here in a second. But this is what handles syncing between our game objects and our entities, which we can see here in Windows Entity Hierarchy. At the moment, entities are in a separate hierarchy from the game objects. This will probably be changing soon-ish. Here in the entities hierarchy, we have the server world and also the client world. These are two separate worlds that, for the host, they are communicating with each other. And there will be different objects on the server than on the client. Here in the game object hierarchy here, we have a server game object and a client game object. This is what is syncing between the server world and the client world here. So all right. So here in the project, under our scripts, we have a Ghost Bridge folder here that has all of the kind of the bridge between our game objects and our entities here. We can look in our prefabs player. This is our shotgun player or rifle player, and then the shotgun. Let's top up. Yes. Yeah, so if you wanted to make a new character, you would just clone, Control D these, add your weapons. There's in the template documentation here, they have a section here for extending. So you can make a sprint ability here. It'll kind of walk you through how to do that. And also adding a new player class. Which this just got added. But this is kind of like a Overwatch type hero shooter type. So you're not switching weapons in the game. You would switch to a different class. So each class has its own weapon. So the main object here is our Ghost game object. This is what you'll need on your player prefab. This is what Visual Studio. Okay. Okay. So this is going to have our component data and the link between the game object and the entity. All this stuff is going to be handled for you. For these, you'll probably want to add to these components if you're going to be extending it with different abilities and whatnot. But this has the anchor for the primary entity. I think it's going to be this hash 128. I have the ID for it. This also has the multiplayer role. So whether it is a client-owned object or server-owned object or predicted object. So for the players, they will be predicted. So you'll be moving on the client first, and then it will update the server. And then when the server updates, it will communicate back to the client, and then you have some reconciliation that happens there. This will also sync up between the entities on the netcode side with the game object. So the netcode for entities will be handling the position of all the objects across the network and also the physics. This is using the DOTS physics for physics updates, because that's how the rollback and stuff happens, all tied into that. Where is the that is that? So the ghost auto behavior. All right, so instead of having a regular model behavior, the player ghost is a ghost model behavior. And this ties into a couple of different systems. Um, Here we have a update client and update server interfaces. So this will have different update cycles depending on whether you're on the client or the server. This is where you can read the entity components from the DOTS side and also send RPCs to communicate to your other clients. This is also where your rollback will happen as well, because we have a predicted update, which is down here eventually. So here we have the component data. This will live on the entity side. We'll have our player name as a ghost field. The ghost field is how will be synced up to the server. And yeah, I think that's the only actual ghost field on the player. Here is the predicted player ghost. We can read the ghost component data. This is grabbing it from the entity side as a predicted player ghost. And this is how we're going to control our player with the controller state is going to be our animator. The DOTS side does not actually have a DOTS animator just yet. So this is kind of the important link between the GameObject side and the DOTS side. The server is not going to have a animator component or any rendering components at all. One of these systems here will actually strip out the rendering components from the server game objects, so you don't have unnecessary things on the server side. And it does the same thing for the client side. There's a system that will strip out server-only things for security type stuff. So here, if we are the client proxy multiplayer role, we are going to disable the character controller. This would be your remote players. So players that are not you that are in your scene, they're not going to have the character controller enabled for them. It's only going to be for your local player. Let's see, where is the so yeah, the camera is only going to be on the local player. So it's going to be disabled for any remote players. There's only going to be one camera in the scene. So our update client So it's going to get its delta time from this callback. And basically, we're just going to be doing camera stuff here. There is a, let's see. Yeah, so our player ghost is not going to be updating from server, so nothing is actually happening there. It's just here for demonstration purposes. The other thing here in the project here is the Ghost Bootstrapper. So this is actually where the DOTS netcode for entities actually creates its client and server. The bootstrap happens automatically here when you hit play. Not actually in the scene, but this will create the client and the server worlds depending on which multiplayer role that you're actually in. This is where you create those worlds, and this is also where the where those client server game objects get created in the main scene. In the prefab, here in the ghost authoring component, this is where we tell the system whether we are owner predicted, interpolated, or just regularly predicted. For your player objects, those are always going to be owner predicted. This will have an owner, and during when you bake these objects, these components all get set. So character controller. So the first person controller here, this has the animator for the first person controller as you are the local player. You're the first person, but for remote players, they're going to be in third person. So it needs to have the animator for the third person controllers for players that aren't you in the scene. And same for the player ghost script. This will show you what visuals are seen for yourself in the first person or your other players in the third person here. We have our controller constants. This is our walk speed, our rotation speed, jump height, gravity, all of that good stuff. And we also have our damage visuals, which show that. Here in the play mode tools, you can create thin clients if you want. I think I've gotten it up to 5, or it starts telling you that you might be bogging down your system here. We'll keep it at 1. This can also have network simulation. So if you want to kind of simulate real world conditions, do so here. Pretty bad. No Wi-Fi. Man, that is still way too high. But anyways, we'll get this and see. Here, we'll just hit play. Uncheck this warning. Okay, we should see another player where on one of these spawn points. Okay, I don't know what's happening there. Might be the rollback. Could be. What I can do is pump some more. Okay. There we go. Should respawn. There's only like 4 respawn points, so it'll just respawn at the same place over and over again. There's no actual AI for these dudes, so they're going to stand still. So while this is, we'll take a look at takes to actually read through this. Okay, I guess we're restarting. Okay, we're back. Okay. So we're going to add a new player character here. First up in our player Ghost Bridge. Here is the new player pistol. This. Cool. Get in our baker here. Entity. Okay, that should take care of making the new prefab in our server spawn system. In networking. Game system. This is going to be where we spawn our prefab. Here in should be a spawn player character here. And currently it is just doing one or the other. Here for the character index. So I think we're going to have to with this. And here our character index is going between 2 and 3. X and really going to have 3 characters right now. Shotgun, rifle, and pistol. Here. And then here. Just oh, yeah, I guess we can't just do that. So here we could just say first one is the rifle or the here, so we just have a double that work. So here we can do X. This will be shotgun. Here will be pistol. Here, okay. And then here, for whatever reason, here, if it is null, it be back to here, an ID equal all right, then we instantiate our player, weapon, okay. Let's change the UI. here in the UI builder, change our choices and add pistol here. I don't know, we have a pistol prefab in this template. Yeah, that's in the weapons manager here. Save. It's I guess we just create one. So here we can, it's a scriptable object, so we can create FPS sample data pistol. Pistol gonna be a hit scan. We'll just leave it as the rifle stuff. The order. Okay. Damage. Oh, hey, there is already pistol stuff here. Pistol. Reload. I think there is. We'll just use the machine gun hit prefab. Okay, then we need to add this to the weapon registry. The order of this list does matter. So, assault rifle, shotgun, pistol. This is the index that the server is going to use for its weapon. And for the player ghost assets, we're just going to duplicate uh, your pistol. This is linked to the players. Player pistol. It needs to get a ID. Is Ghost authoring component. I think this is fine. Okay. Let's see, that should be. Just want to make sure that the entity ID is unique. Which I think. Yeah. Okay. There actually is. Yeah, we'll do that later. There should be aperture. Okay, and then last couple of steps here is to open the game resources, up scene. Add. Should be a save. Oh, my telesense isn't working. There we go. So here, drag our and last bit, we need to add this to our addressable. Okay, that is here already. There we go. Okay. That should do it, actually. Oh. Cool. No problem. we'll have to come back to this later. Cool. Okay. Alrighty. Well, we will revisit this weekend, and I'll put up a shorter video on actually creating a new character class for this, and hopefully will be on my desktop, which is a lot better at this than my laptop. So yeah, next month I think we're going to make a detour into Godot again. I want to hop into the networking of Godot. That will shake out. We'll also have another game jam here soon. I believe Ludum Dare is in April coming up, so we might do something with that as well. Yeah, provided my laptop doesn't blow up, we'll go ahead and just call it a night here. We will see you guys next time.